All right, guys. I am going to share with you the worst, darkest, most painful period of my life. And I actually have talked about this before in another video, but I feel like we have a bunch of new people here, and the wound isn't so fresh that I could talk about it maybe in a fun way this time and make an enjoyable video out of it. Why do I want to do this? Well, I think it can help a lot of people. Also, I just want to connect with you guys further and on a deeper level. Like all of my 9.5 out of 10 videos that I film are just, how to get a jawline, how to get a six pack, shit like this. So you guys don't even know me. It's time we actually do that, 1.8 million subscribers and 7 years in. I think you guys deserve to know me a little bit more, don't you think? Cool. All right, let's do it. So anyways, have a sip of coffee here, get the energy to actually get through this. Anyways, I'm a simple guy. I've always been a happy guy, frolicking, jumping around, chasing the creatures out in nature. I really lived that Cinderella story. I always kind of looked down upon guys who struggled mentally. Depression was fake, and those guys are just pussies, right? And suicide, of course, always just sounded like the most cowardly shit you could ever imagine to me. Couldn't be me, ever. Not a chance. Now, this thought process, this attitude kind of lasted until my second year, or no, it was, when was it? Yeah, my junior year of college. Randomly, I started getting these weird aches and pains and twitches in my body, and my stomach hurt, and I was like gassy and stuff. I was like, what the hell is going on? This is so not like me. My body was like betraying me. I'm used to being this guy that's so fit in the gym all the time and, trying to perfect his physique and being so healthy. And so I had all these physical ailments, and then all of a sudden, maybe a month or two into these physical ailments, one day, the light just went out. Not the light in the room, but the light of life. I woke up one day like, what the fuck? This is weird. I'm just like a shell of myself. Like the pure light and essence of life is gone. It's like there's just this cloud kind of hovering above me. As cliche as that sounds, that's how it felt. It was so weird. Now, I thought I had some horrible degenerative disease or cancer or something. So I was going to doctors, getting all these tests done, and they all came back pretty negative. I remember I got an MRI, and even that, I was sure that it was going to come back with a brain tumor, brain cancer, something, because, I was having this weird feeling in my head and also these body physical ailments, seeing doctor after doctor, nothing. And this was right before I was supposed to go fly to Italy to study abroad there. I was so scared because I didn't want to go all the way across the ocean and still have this horrible stuff going on and then not be able to get access to medical care over there, and the people don't speak English, etc., etc. But once I was told by the doctors that I'm okay, there's nothing really wrong with you, I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go. And weirdly, within about 2 weeks of being in Italy, everything went away. This was after a whole summer, 3 months of having depression, anxiety, and physical ailments. So what that told me was it was anxiety. It was my situation and my thought processes. I think it happened because of finals week. And, I started stressing out a little bit over finals, and then maybe that caused some sort of physical symptom. And then I fixated on this physical symptom and exacerbated that into a massive episode of health anxiety, right? So these little bit of health signals from my body, these little bit of physical signals from my body blew up into mental, physical, and everything just got worse. But really, I just needed to live life and take my mind off of it, and that basically snapped me out of it, and I never experienced that again for years upon years. That was my first experience with anxiety and depression. Now, before I get too far into this video, there's always hope. A lot of you guys in this video have experienced mental health struggles, whether it's just basic stressors or actual chemical imbalances, whatever it may be. There's always hope. I promise you, because I've experienced both natural depression, anxiety, and also unnatural. And I'll get into that here in a second. So when I had the idea to make this video, I reached out to a company that I think can maybe help some of you. So shout out to the sponsor of this video at BetterHelp. If you are somebody who has experienced issues, thoughts that maybe things aren't the way they are supposed to be, I'm not feeling how I'm supposed to be feeling, I'm feeling things that are not in congruence with how I normally feel, and it scares you, then you should talk to somebody, because I did, and I can confirm that it is 100% advantageous and there's no shame in it. BetterHelp is a fully online therapy provider, making therapy more comfortable and convenient than having to go in person and sit in a waiting room and be around a bunch of people you don't know. How it works, if you need some help, you go on to the website, you'll fill out a questionnaire, it'll connect you with a therapist from a diverse network of 30,000 plus licensed professionals with a wide range of specialties and backgrounds. You can also easily switch therapists at any time with no extra cost to you at all. It's super important that they help you find the right fit. They carefully make sure that the therapists that they use are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can definitely trust. Guys, I know from firsthand experience, me and a lot of my friends, people you would never expect, talk to professionals, go to therapy. There's no shame in it. I do it. I'm giving you the approval to do it as well. We put all this effort into keeping our bodies healthy and right. It's the same for our minds. Sometimes we need a little bit of help. We need that mental coach, okay? Start fresh any day of the year with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/maverick and get 10% off of your first month of therapy. Okay, now back to my story. So, I'd had this struggle before, back in college. Never struggled for years. Fast forward a little bit, I'd moved here to Los Angeles. I was never a huge partier, drinker. Okay, I drank a little bit, in college. A moderate bit. But I never was interested in doing drugs, right? I don't know why, I just was cool to have my beers, right? Well, if you didn't know, there's a pretty big festival scene in California, and now it's kind of growing all over the country, right? People love going to these festivals. So I went to a festival and I was offered MDMA. It's kind of a different form of ecstasy, So I thought, you know what, might as well try it out. I'll try one of these drugs at least once in my life, right? So I took the pill, I had an amazing time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had such an amazing time that, 2 weeks later, we booked our tickets to another festival and I did it again. I took a little bit more, but felt a little bit less, interestingly. Still had a great time, partied my butt off, listened to great music, felt the vibrations in my body, but wasn't quite as great as the first time, even though I had ingested more. I thought, oh, maybe I had some stuff in my stomach or whatever, who knows? But I thought, this is amazing. So about maybe a month or two later, we found ourselves at another event, a music festival, and I had taken the role of getting the ecstasy myself, and I thought I'd get enough for everybody, right? So I got $200 worth or something. This is, 13 or 14 pills, right? So we go to this festival and I pop it, right? Not really feeling a whole lot. 30 minutes later, I pop another one. Not really feeling much. I'll pop a third one, right? I start feeling it, okay? I start feeling it strong for 40 minutes or 30 minutes maybe even 20 minutes. I don't know. It wasn't that much, apparently, because I thought, hey, I'm not really feeling much anymore. I should probably take more. It's probably just like alcohol. If it starts wearing off, you just drink more and you'll start feeling good again, right? Wrong. Anyways, throughout the course of that night, I took 13 pills of this stuff, which, if you don't know, is really, really, really bad for your mind, your brain, and your neurotransmitters and whatnot. So I went back home after the festival. We still had a pretty good time, but then something weird happened. I couldn't sleep that night. I thought, oh, my mind's just readjusting. But no, the next night I didn't sleep either. And then the day, I had a panic attack. This crazy feeling where you could be in the most safe space in the world, but you feel like your life is in danger. You feel like you're about to die. It's terrifying. I thought, hey, maybe it'll take a week for my body to kind of like readjust to life. Didn't sleep again that night. Another panic attack the next day. This light again in my life diminished. And this continued for about a month. I tried to trust that my body and my chemicals and hormones and whatever would work it out, but it didn't. I was sleeping maybe 30 minutes a night, and the sleep that I was getting was filled with nightmares, having visions of myself dying and my family dying and just the most horrible things you could imagine. I tried exercising nonstop. I was spending all day on these forums trying to find answers. I was eating healthy. I was doing everything all of these nerds say to do that are better than therapy and better than medication. Oh, yeah, you just need to do physical work, which I agree is a good first step. But if you've screwed the actual serotonin receptors in your mind, a little bit of running isn't going to fix that shit, right? I was running from my apartment in Hollywood all the way up Runyon Canyon, running around it twice and running back. That's like 7.5 miles with hills and rocks involved. And I still wasn't sleeping. I was exhausted. I lay down to go to sleep at night, and you're just laying there exhausted, depressed, and anxious. It was horrible. Imagine the worst anxiety you've ever had. Maybe the feeling of when you show up to class and everybody pulls out their homework or the paper and you had forgotten to do it. You didn't even know there was homework due that day. That type of anxiety times 100, and I'm not joking at all. So this persisted and persisted for probably 3 months. It got so bad, I remember calling my mom at 3 a.m, telling her I'm not good. I don't know how I'm going to make it a couple more days. My mom said, buy a ticket home, come home tomorrow morning. So in 3 a.m. in the morning, I booked a flight for 8 a.m, got on that flight, flew home. It definitely helped a little bit being home around family, but the feelings persisted. The lack of sleep persisted. It was a little better for some reason. I don't know why, but I spent about a week at home kind of riding this fence, maybe feeling a little better, but still knowing that something was wrong. But I felt okay enough to move back to Los Angeles. So maybe after a week and a half, I flew back to LA. And my sister came with me. She came back and kind of helped me settle back in, right? I had an eviction notice on my apartment door because I had stopped paying my rent. I was so fully consumed by the darkness, the anxiety, the night terrors, the absolute lack of anything positive in my life theater that I had ignored the things that are required for life, paying rent. I don't think I made a video on YouTube for a month or a month and a half or something. I know I forced myself to make like 1 or 2 videos. I forced myself to put on a smile, but that was hell doing that. But anyways, settled back in a little bit. My sister left and flew home. And within 2 days, it was back to that same horrible, dead, nightmarish feeling. No sleep, anxiety, panic attacks twice a day, 3 times a day. I would feel okay for a couple hours. I feel like, okay, maybe this wave will continue. Maybe I'll feel okay for a couple more days. But sure shit, 2 hours go by and then I'd fall back into this panic attack, this anxiety attack, this feeling of there's nowhere to run, but I need to run from something. I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, you feel like you need to escape your own body and just run and fly away or something. It feels scary. Some of you watching know this feeling. Another 3 months went by. We're now at 5.5 months of terror, of anxiety, of mental anguish, of me desperately trying to get my friends to hang out with me, just to be preoccupied, just to have somebody around to like watch over me. And this was the first time that I understood the S word. This rhymes with ruicide. right? I remember thinking, if this is gonna be the rest of my life, there's no cure for this, there's no way out. Yeah, that's an option. I will probably do that. Because it's not a life to be lived. I wouldn't wish that kind of life on my worst enemy. That was the first time I understood it. I understood why people do that action. And I get it. Now, 6 months in, 4 nights into a bender of not sleeping at all. Literally, you're just wired, you're exhausted. You lay down for bed, you're laying there, absolutely terrified for 6 hours at night. Again, I called my mom. She told me, come home. We're going to sort this out. So I went home for the second time. But this time, I got help. I went and talked to a psychiatrist. She was extremely nice and helpful and kind and understood me completely. We tried a couple medications. Some of them worked, some didn't. And we finally kind of formulated this perfect medication cocktail. What it consisted of was an antidepressant called Lexapro, which I would take daily, a sleeping pill called mirtazapine, so I would take that before I go to bed, but it would only work for a few hours. Then when I inevitably woke up at 3 a.m, I would take a melatonin, and that would help me go back to bed. And then twice a day, I would take a beta blocker, which I can't remember the name of it, but the purpose of this was to actually keep the anxiety attacks at bay. So if you close the window on it, you can give yourself a chance at rebuilding everything, right? The theory was that I had fried my serotonin receptors from the ecstasy, so I had to give them a chance to rebuild. So you close the door on the anxiety, the flight or fight response. Meanwhile, you're building up your serotonin with the depression pills, right? Antidepressant pills. You're getting sleep, so the sleep is helping everything. Sleep is just so incredible for everything as far as your bodily functions, your mental functions goes. So I stuck to this cocktail for 2 weeks probably. I stayed home for 2 weeks, and then I felt okay to move back. So I moved back to California. I continued my little cocktail of medications. And I continued that for a month, and then I started tapering things off. And within 2 or 3 months, I was fine. Back to living my normal life. And the appreciation that you have for life after going through something like that. You're literally living in hell for 6 months. It's crazy. I can't even believe that I went through that. And hopefully it's the worst thing I'll ever have to live through. Knocking on wood right here. But going through that, making it out victorious on the other side, I realized I can get through anything. There's always hope. No matter how dire, no matter how horrible the situation, there's hope. And I want to relay that onto you guys. I know last time I shared this story, there was thousands of people in the comments saying, thank you so much, Brett. I've felt this way. I'm feeling this now. Keep pushing. Talk to somebody. Get help. You can get through this. I promise you. If you want it bad enough, there's a way. There's a way to get through it. Now, that was 5 years ago. Something like that. 4 or 5 years ago. That built me so much. That shaped really who I am. I was living a very Epicurean lifestyle. Chasing parties, chasing girls, this, that, the other. Because I thought that's what I wanted. That's what I thought would make me whole. But it wasn't. And it wasn't much farther after that, maybe a year or two later, a year and a half, that I ended up with my girlfriend and now fiance, Chloe. And the ups and downs, these dwindle. And it just becomes this constant, more reliable glow of pleasure. Pleasure shouldn't flash, because this means it must come to an end. Pleasure, peace, it glows, right? These huge spikes of happiness followed by steep declines into blueness, anxiety, they're not healthy for you. So, seek peace. Do not seek happiness or pleasure, okay? Now, I really, really hope that this helps some of you, or maybe you know somebody that could benefit from watching this, but really, I want anybody who is going through what I went through, like a drug-induced anxiety thing, to see this, because I want them specifically to know that there is hope, because only they really understand what it feels like. It's like there's no certainty, there's no hope. It feels like, at least if you have some natural anxiety like me with the health anxiety, it's situational. It's like, okay, yeah, I was going through some health stuff. Of course, there's anxiety that goes along with that. But when you actually do something physical to your brain, like destroying receptors, it's hard to imagine a world where it just rebuilds itself and everything's okay eventually. Like, it's so easy to just lose yourself thinking that you're going to be stuck like this forever, but you won't. There's always hope. There's ways to fix yourself, okay? So seek help. Talk to a professional. There's professionals who specialize in drug-induced anxiety, depression, etc. Talk to somebody. There is somebody for whatever is ailing you, I promise you. If you don't have access to a local network of therapists or counselors, go talk to somebody on BetterHelp. It's affordable, it's available, it has a vast network, and there's absolutely somebody on there that can help you with whatever your situation is. Okay, I feel like I did not really explain this whole thing smoothly. I just get so weird talking about my own personal shit. That's why most of my videos are tips and practical advice, not like emotional, internal type of stuff, because I just get so weird talking about it. But I hope this was coherent and you got something out of it. I don't know. Let me know if you want to hear more stories or things like this, personal stuff, and I can make an effort to do that. I probably should, because I got to get better at it anyways. But if you haven't already, subscribe, leave a like down below, like the video, and until next time, peace.